Womp womp. So close. Streamlabs, please use the bit boss as instructed. Or don't, that's fine. Alright, we'll fix that later. Welcome everybody to the Olimoleague June Finals.
I see not a lot of people are playing around with bit boss nowadays anyways.
Yeah, I didn't get very much in the BTSL, I think, is what was casting with Maynard. I'm so frustrated that's not working. At least my cam worked, which it seems to be hit or miss as well, but like, oh well, let's put your picture in here. One that you asked for. Boop.
That I asked for.
Oh, no.
You make it sound like this is some super duper amazing special request.
That was the wrong button. There you go. I think it was a super duper amazing request. You are red.
Nice.
There you go. Literally just a guy in a box. Alright. Talk again, actually? This might be the wrong... Okay, no, it works.
Hello, good morning.
Cool, that works. That should be good. All the settings should be from 2 nights ago. Although that doesn't explain the whole stream key failure, but I'm just gonna bypass that one. So it is the Olimoleague June Finals, as said on the title. We had to skip last week's due to what was IEM qualifiers. I think that was it. It was either pushed off. So even though it's the first week of July, this is actually the June Finals, and so be it. And we, or rather you guys, chose to watch INnoVation versus soO in the Twitter poll, and that's what we're ready to get into. I think we're just waiting on like all other casters as well. I think everyone is just about doing this. Yeah. Maybe Crank is doing the other like one that was close but not chosen, Gumio versus Zest. I personally think that might just be a stomp, which is why I didn't want to do it. It's considering like Zest hasn't had the greatest form. He did okay, obviously, in the Game Land tournament that we were casting, but I feel like Keen just I don't know, Keen let it go, basically. You know, he's supposed to 4-0 him and then he let it go. But we do hear the countdown, so we need to get into it. Oh, damn you, Bit Boss.
Yeah, and I'll be 1 second. I'm just typing something out with a fellow we're looking to work with in the next couple days. Part of why I asked Zombie to stream today, to be clear, because I did ask, I requested, I was like, hey, would you mind? Is so I could get some administrative stuff done on the back end today, get caught up. And this is one of those little things.
I think you're going to be a little bit low, so let me try and bump up Discord.
Oh, I can... How's that?
Yeah, I think I actually had to reduce Discord because Maynard's pretty loud.
Oh! Oh, no!
What?
Oh!
What?
Last time I was in Korea, it was for IM!
Oh.
Ah! It's the WCS 3.0 overlay!
Feels bad. Well,
Kill me.
I got the correct one on. I'm Gucci. Although I think that I was also caught by surprise with that, with the BTSL. So I know that pain. But it is a best of 3, as this is the round of 8. Pretty sure about that. And in the top left, as the red Terran, it is INnoVation.
And his opponent in the bottom right. Good to see him show up for a tournament, huh? It's soO! Making a small joke of the fact that, unfortunately, he did have to back out of the BTSL recently. But, I was a little bit sad we didn't get to see him. I was not cast that day either, but now we get to, so yay!
Yeah. INnoVation versus soO should be, obviously, a very good matchup. Best of 3 can be a little bit short, but it is a round of 8s, so we'll see how it goes. I had Gumio, I guess, earlier today for me, and then of course we were casting the Corsair Cup, where I think we didn't see any Terrans whatsoever. Right? It was 3 Zerg and a Protoss, I believe. Yeah, Showtime, that's right. And just saying, there's a lot of StarCraft actually, but I'm glad to see like a really old-fashioned TvZ. Probably the best of the best coming out here. soO, of course, second place runner-up almost always. INnoVation, occasionally winning some tournaments. Recently won the SSL. Recently won his SSL round-robin match. I was gonna say group, but it is like just a match and a round robin for SSL, and it's looking quite strong, as he usually does. INnoVation doesn't have very many like super weak points, but there have been times, I guess, where he hasn't gone as far as people expect. So the Reaper's gonna come out here. And immediately go back. I think it saw that the hatchery was a little bit delayed. It did indeed. So immediately pulling back, realizing that the most likely option is that it's going to be 2 lings.
And a phenomenal fact that this isn't a 3 racks just dawned on me, as it's all we've been seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that INnoVation's not exactly like too much of a 3 racks abuser. Byan is, and I think the time that we saw Gumiho, he was doing it too.
Exactly. It's not for me that it's like, oh, INnoVation himself is a 3 racks abuser or not. It's the fact that it just seems to be trendy and in the meta right now. These versus good Zerg players, but not using it versus soO.
The Hellion opener is something that I think Byan had that moment where he was only doing 2-on-1s, and then everyone went over to Hellions again, basically. Of course, this has always been in the meta at some point in time in StarCraft 2, but INnoVation was one of the ones I think that really started to push for just the good old-fashioned factory starport, so Hellion Banshee most of the time. Gumiho changing things up by adding on like reactors to the just the barracks, or going for a medevac Widowmine drop. But this is about as standard as an opener as you can get. As far as like the history of StarCraft 2 has gone, 7 years. Hellion Banshee certainly was one of the most popular. I guess in Wings Liberty it was mostly just Hellions, not so much the Banshee. But then Heart of Swarm, definitely Hellion Banshee.
Well, I've actually liked seeing the Banshees, but funny enough, in the other matchups, right? Like, seeing it a lot in TVP with the proxies. Less and less in TvZ just overall, but still works.
Yeah.
But actually, on that note, I don't think I've seen as effective as a Banshee as they have in TVP recently. Anyways, Hellions busting through that front door. Fry up this link's pretty nice. There's a lot of Hellions getting to that mineral line. That safety spot back here, and that's not a spine crawler, that's a spore crawler.
Yeah, not... I mean, that's useful for Hellions, but they're cleaned up anyway.
Yeah, that went pretty south pretty quick, which was really unfortunate.
Yeah. That
was a pretty big amount of Hellions that was supposed to do a lot more damage, I think.
Well, the Banshees hopefully will get something done. Where is it?
That's she hits. There you go. Yeah, she hits the main.
Not gonna, unfortunately. I mean, like the Spore Crawler is already done. Banshee, Liberator, whatever is going to be, was going to be taken care of really easily. Spine Crawler even repositioned to the third base. That's the most likely position that I think more Hellions would come in, whether they're turning into Hellbats, just trying to get the drone transfer. So I actually really like that move. It's also probably going to be where the actual, follow-up attack happens. Apparently soO uses Abathur. Always interesting to note that.
That seems to be a pretty common one, actually.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it so much, but I guess, I don't know, other people do. It is kind of a cool, different way, I guess, of tone and whatever. But anyways, double Banshee, of course, can one-shot and take on Queens. So they're going to get a little bit damage done, but it is still worth it keeping them alive. There's no Spire yet, so they, if you really want to keep them alive, it should be possible. There it's put down now, along with double Evolution Chamber and a Baneling Nest. And that Queen goes down, so the Gas Geyser drones are under a little bit of pressure. But soO is taking care of this, and still at a good drone count, 62, just remaking the ones that he lost right now. INnoVation 3rd CC, heading up to Medevacs, 1-1, and Combat Shields.
So I'm just looking into these payment methods this guy suggested. Curious for chat, has anyone here had experience with either currency fair or TransferWise? I'm looking into them right now as we speak, and
yeah, I remember you gave me the list of options, and I looked through them, and I was like, I've never actually heard of any of these. Yeah. But I imagine that they're all pretty fair and safe to use. I've only ever used Western Union before, I guess, to actually like PayPal someone like that did hardest work for me. But...
Well, usually, yeah, it's pretty standard. Just PayPal and bank transfer. I've never ever had anybody use a third alternative, so this is gonna. Anyways, focus on these drops. Double drops, get to the main, pick out that queen, so he can pick up and safely, or at least try to safely get out of there. But that Spore Crawler got some nice hits on that medevac.
It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't even like a full 2 medevacs, and going into the main base seems to almost never work out against like the top tier Zergs, or honestly even like Masters Plus Zerg. It seems to be kind of like a hopeful, like, well, maybe like that one time it's totally worth it, but generally not so much. And then if you end up losing the medevacs because you dived way too far forward, that's actually kind of catastrophic for the pacing of the game. It's usually I see it avoided, but just clears up the creep. At least, you know, that's usually the double medevac's job, the initial 2 anyway. And also trying to distract for this. Oh, this could get a good hit. Oh, pretty good hit. It's like 10 links.
Well, INnoVation's certainly leading in that army supply right now. It's going to be tough for soO, but Zerg players are used to playing this position. Unfortunately, though, that Ling hit, well, certainly not normally a big deal to lose Zerglings. It hurts when the army supply is looking like this. That Banshee's still living too. That's going to sting. That's going to snipe off the odd Baneling maybe. Like, she actually adds a lot of nice positioning to this. And Cloak's still available. Mutas are going to circumvent off to the side.
Not so bad. At least gets the Widowmine at the front. But the Banshee could be surprisingly effective against some of the numbers of Banelings, although there should just be overwhelming amounts. It does go down anyways, doesn't matter. INnoVation went pretty quickly into double factory, so he already has, I think, a Thor popped out. Yeah, there it is, as well as Drilling Claws on the way. Like, this is pretty darn fast, but I guess his macro wasn't really interrupted. soO's not so much either, but a little bit more. Obviously, you have to deal with the Helen and the Banshees. Although I dealt with both pretty easily.
Ooh, keep those Widowmines back. Almost loses 3 fresh ones in the front line. Gonna need each and every one of those hits so badly against all these Banelings.
Thor adding a little bit of pressure, or like presence rather, that the Banelings could collide into. I think soaked up at least a couple. Does get killed, but there's still so much bile left over. And soO did not have any backup Banelings. I think he really thought he was going to be able to crash through and at least push INnoVation back, but now he's going to lose the game.
Nah, the Marines are just too much. And to note, soO's been actually taking pretty bad Baneling trades all game. I think he rolled like 6 of them into a Marauder earlier on. Like, GG's get called, but that was that started going downhill way earlier than that fight with a Thor.
Yeah, I mean, INnoVation just got such flawless macro game, which is not too much of a surprise, but just the pressure started and like started and stopped pretty immediately, I guess, because it ended up winning the game. Now, I was expecting, considering that soO dealt with the Helen so easily and then the Banshees really didn't do a whole lot, I thought he'd have, well, more of a tug of war, as we usually see in TvZ, but oh well. Next map is going to be soO's map choice, which will come at some point. I said the other matchup I remember is Gumiho versus Zest, but I actually can't recall what the other ones were. And I don't have the thing up right
now. Here we go. I got a full bracket list. Impact Leenock is going to play the winner of this series. Hero and Classic play against the winner of Gumiho and Zest. Man, I want Gumiho to just tear through a TVP bracket and then lose to Zerg in the finals.
Why?
Although I don't think he would lose in the finals. I think he would still win the finals.
I was gonna say, why do you want to lose the finals?
Just to prove that he's actually like a human being. And not, like, cause like what happened? I feel like KJ Freedom took that Psystorm gaming money and like used it to fucking Wolverine on Gumiho, right? Like perform some crazy Weapon X experiments on him. The guy is so good lately, Zombie Grub.
That he is. Not totally perfect, but he's definitely very good. Yeah, I got that bracket up now too. Yeah, Hero vs Classic and Impact vs Lina. So other like mirror matchups going on. I really like PvP, and Hero Classic is, well, not a classic matchup. It's an interesting one, but we're not gonna be able to catch that. We'll be casting both semifinals and the finals. as we usually do. And imagine, I mean, INnoVation looked really strong, so I'm just going to give him, let's say, the win here, 2-1, 2-0, whatever. And then Leenock actually wasn't doing so badly, but...
Yo, I feel like Leenock has never been a bad player, and I don't want to make any inference to that as being the case, but I did feel like he wasn't a great player for a while, and I'm not going to try and take credit for it by any means, but I feel like it is right around the time we did Gameland, he started being a lot more active. He's been playing a lot more stuff. Like, I'm not sure if that was just like maybe the revitalization he needed, like a foreign tournament to not be stuck in Korea all the time, or what. But I've been liking Leenock a lot lately. Whereas before, I don't really know that he's been on the radar too much.
I agree. It seems that he's had an upswing lately. Whereas, despite being like a very old player, again, like playing most like 7 years of StarCraft, I'm pretty sure, at least 6, I want to say. He's had so much of a point of just like not really getting that far and not really doing that well in the important offline tournaments. And then this last month actually defeating a lot of really good players, but we're still in INnoVation versus soO.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk more on that later. Kick things off here in, oh, got your camera up now. The bottom right, took a pretty harsh loss just now. It's the Red Zerg soO. Cheer for him, Zerg fans.
In the top left, as the blue Terran, it is INnoVation.
soO's an interesting guy. I know I want to like revisit and talk about Leenock some more, but we'll hold that off for now. soO, though, I don't know that aside from his GSL, what do you want to call it? Like notoriety, I guess is actually the right word for once and ever. Like, it's kind of been hard to talk about him because he does really well in everything he does, but then has the sort of GSL effect come into play. And we're not awarding him first place a lot of the time in these cups that he participates in. I, for one, would like to see soO do well, even if it's just something like weekly, like an Olimoleague. But it just kills me knowing that like the players he's up against today, it always feels like the world is stacked against him, right? It
does, and I feel like only recently when I watched him live, even though he lost again, that I really feel the presence that is like soO is, well, he definitely would have been named the greatest Zerg in the world ever if he had won all 6 GSLs, but is definitely one of those best Zergs in the whole wide world. But I never really felt that, because every time we saw him online, or I managed to catch him like in an offline tournament like VLSO or something, I saw him lose. And I always thought that was such a weird like disconnect from what everyone else was hyping him up to be. And that's probably also why I felt so convinced that Gumiho was going to take the GSL, which he did. So
I was just convinced on it because like the run we had with that was it the BTSL finals or whatever the day prior.
Yeah, I feel like that really did actually play to the final series a lot more than you can give it credit for, because like at the time it's always like, are they really trying their best builds, or this really their best representation? But I thought it actually greatly influenced the best of 7 finals. I was very interested in the mech game, specifically the first game, because we did see a lot of that.
By the way, I gotta give a big shout out here, not just because it was a resub, but Chicken Man gives us a 2-month resub, so lots of love to Base Trade. You guys rock. He's also cheered bits to name one of my top Pokemon after him. So Chicken Man has been on my screen a lot lately. So super shouts to Chicken Man, and then KTML. Thank you for the 17-month resub.
Nice.
I kind of forgot how bad secondhand camera observing is, though.
Yeah, I should really tell them that's still happening.
Well, Hellions get in here, but soO's quick to trigger. It doesn't take long to split. In fact, the pull here was almost perfect. And ends up leading a couple drones here in the end. 3 is not bad at all. Cleans up the Reaper, both the Hellions.
Right. I think that was a better trade, though, overall. Because INnoVation, with those 6 Hellions in the first game, didn't get, like, any. Maybe 1.
Yeah, actually, it's really funny watching 2 Hellions be more effective than 6, right?
Yeah.
Feels bad, man.
I believe there was an attempt to counter. soO is looking for maybe, like, a really greedy third base on location, because his Ling's just kind of, like, freaking out right now. I don't know about this, but, with 2 Hellions, this actually is kind of questionable if INnoVation was going to be able to react in time, but it wasn't taken advantage of, so it's going to be 4 Hellions soon enough, and these Lings are going to have to wait another day to actually get some type of counter and surprise. The Banshee's gonna come through here. There are Spore Crawlers being built in every single base. I mean, soO, well, I don't know if he scouted it before this Overlord, but I think it just is a common opener for INnoVation.
Well, as we know, INnoVation's a guy who sticks to his builds too. Not a lot of variance in them. Front of the wall's gonna be a problem. A lot of surface here to connect on that command center, and the SCV's not been put back to build it, so he has to cancel it. Brings back the Hellions too. Oh, this is problems.
I thought he had a little more time not to cancel that. I mean, I think he still canceled overall, but...
I think if he had used the idle SCV that was sitting next to it to build it again, he would have had plenty of time.
Yeah, that too. That too. Okay, that was definitely awkward, and definitely worth soO waiting patiently over here with those links. 7 SCVs, a canceled command center. That was very nice. The Hellions gonna try and get some return damage. It is mech, by the way.
Ooh! Well, I say he doesn't have a lot of variance in builds, but maybe that command center pissed him off.
Yeah, right. I mean,
well, I think he would go for it anyways, all these Hellions, but still, I mean, it's a better story.
Yeah.
And
oh
my god!
So many Hellions, and even though soO
Happy.
was like, he was ready for 2, 4, 6 even Hellions, but not 8 or 10. Jeez.
Zombie, I'm happy 4th of July. INnoVation's brought you some barbecue because he knows you're missing it over there in Korea.
Oh, it is 4th of July. I slept through most of 4th of July in Korea, but it's only just
Barely
begun in
4th of
America.
July. Yeah.
Damn, 20.
In a real time zone. That's insane to me though, because of how well soO shut down 6 Hellions early on. I would not have expected them to catch him so badly off guard in game 2. And what's worse yet, he still has double Banshees to catch too. This drone count's not done dying yet.
Yeah.
Double Thor for drops possibly behind this, or even just double Thor's period behind this too.
Yeah, I would not. It seems to be that double Thor drop is just a way to open up with mech nowadays. I don't mind. It's pretty cool. It's pretty snazzy to see.
I think what's great about it is no matter what units you have out early on, unless you've gone for like your own roach all in, nothing's gonna really shut them down easily. Like Lings don't do well because of the armor. Queens don't hit for jack squat. They're tanky enough and they deal enough damage they can threaten hatcheries. I love the double Thor drop meta that's kind of evolving here, but these Banshees, you know, soO's starting to build cancel, realizing how problematic this is. He's still on 61 drones, so notably not a low drone count, but 34 died through this early game aggression out of INnoVation. I mean, this has been fantastic out of our Terran.
That's a 4th base already down, and drones already at like 70 and starting to build an army, whereas, or like have an army actually, because he's only just now starting it. It's only Hydras right now too, like not even like the roach buffer. Everything is just thrown off so much for soO, and while INnoVation can't capitalize quite yet playing mech, there just isn't like immediate like follow-up of a marine push. He does have this huge period of time. He does not have to worry about being touched, really. Like, his 3rd base is not going to be under attack. Hell, a 4th base might not even be under attack, with the Thor pressure also being added in here. So he has plenty of time to get to a really good army supply. Thank you to Chicken Man for the 100 bits. Say it fast, the 3-month resub.
I know. Thank you, say it fast.
Maybe he has a brother named Say It Slow. Just needs to convince him to say.
Yeah, he was in the Goonies. Okay, so by the way, I do love that it's Swarm Host. This to me says immediately that soO at least knows that this unit's good enough to play against mech. The problem is we're still seeing the Korean meta for Swarm Host so far behind the other 2 regions. Like Europe, if you want to watch the best mech player in the world die, you have a European Zerg play against them, right? They know how to handle it. For Korea, what's kind of happening is like they're only just now getting into it. Double drops into the main right now, by the way. They're only just now getting into the Swarm Host play. Oh, I just tore up. Yeah. They're only just now getting into the Swarm Host play, and what's worse yet is the way they use it. And a lot of it's still just blow your load. Whereas we're seeing a lot of the European with really good controls are half and half. They stagger the Swarm Host. It's an endless wave of annoyance. Like Blue Flame Hellions will eventually help clean it up, but it's supposed to hit at such a nice timing that you don't really have that number of Hellions. You don't have Blue Flame. You don't have anything to deal with them most of the time.
You know, though, I like not to just like bring them up for like, you know, shots, right? Because Nerchio is like a great player. But I was surprised that Nerchio, being a European Zerg, seemed to like not really have that great of Stormhost control yesterday. at the Corsair Cup finals. So, but I mean, I agree. Like, it's usually the European Zergs that are dealing with mech, no problem. And that was against Protoss, so like a different matchup too. But the Korean Zergs still seem to have that just just miscontrol.
It's almost like a chip on their shoulder.
Or that, yeah, like they actually, some refuse to go for Swarm Host. This is a lot of Swarm Hosts. We'll see how he uses it. I'm not like too convinced it'll be that great though, because even though he has a large number, he's gotten to a decent, army count. As I said, INnoVation had no problems getting to even a 4th without any pressure up.
Yeah. And he's got tanks spread all over the place too, so there's no actually getting caught off guard here. So I couldn't help but laugh because Hard Revenge clipped my little Gumiho spiel, tweeted it to the owner of Sidestorm Gaming. Thanks, Hard Revenge. Appreciate it.
This, it's probably accurate.
What was great though is this, look at the bottom right, he had waited so long for an opening to get these Thors in there. And the Hydras were only going to be a threat to the Medivacs, not to the Thors. So, no problem focusing down the Queens, shooting out with those Hydras. Hellions joined him now in the main too. Hello!
Yeah. I was looking at them and I was wondering if they were Blue Flame, maybe they would have been like a lot better. A couple Hydras are so low, but that didn't really end up working out. There was an opportunity for natural drones to die, and it was an opportunity to meet up with those Thors, so still not the best. But without mutas, there really is no reason to be, stopping this. This is just like, double Warp Prism, except it's double Thor, and it's a lot weirder, but still cool. So INnoVation, like, just to note, got a 4th base, okay? Like, I kind of expected that. So it's the way the game went. It would be so easy to add that in as opposed to, 3 more tanks. But he's adding on now a 5th, too. So he's really playing a defensive mech, like, not trying to find any opportunities to catch soO off guard and actually push out here. Or maybe just waiting a very long time till those upgrades finish.
First off, I'm disappointed INnoVation doesn't have the cool Viking skin. But secondly, I love that he has so many. One of the big problems all mech players face, whether you're an aggressive mech player or whether you're turtle style, it's going to be that Viper interaction, right? Abducts, blinding clouds, you name it. So having the Viking count to actually snipe those off, like there's enough to one-shot down the Vipers, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just something that at once upon a time was almost the guaranteed kill. I remember back when you were just so tilted. Like, you're like, I'm going to ladder and be... a ladder and caster, and then you came back and you're like, no, Vipers are bullshit, I'm never gonna do it again.
Yeah, I was like, I had fun for a whole minute.
Yeah, I thought that was
actually, there's a comment about that on a YouTube video recently, but okay, the Swarm Host Locusts are unleashed on the other side of the map. They're gonna hit pretty hard, but the Vikings and the missile turrets take out a good number of them before they even land, and the tanks have no problem dealing with what few remain.
Yeah.
I think you lost like 2 tanks to that.
Yeah, I think so. 3 overall. The Hellbats really didn't do a whole lot, got 5 drones, that was it. The Thors still live though, and they're going to come back and actually help defend the army. We finally have Blue Flame. I feel like that was quite a late Blue Flame.
It was... I think it was late too. One of the problems with this though is he's not focusing on ground despite these upgrades because INnoVation is throwing down 4 more starports as we speak.
Okay, well... when I saw the 5th CC go down, I was like, is it really going to go to this point? And then I saw like 3 extra CCs go down. I was like, there's got to be a transition into Sky Terran, which I feel like, yeah, again, like he didn't, there's 2 ways to play this out. He gets such a nice early game lead that I think there was an opportunity just to like 4 base push and try and get the victory, but instead choosing to just play totally defensive. He's still getting all these Hellion harassments, when he can, and 64 drones this game have gone down. But soO has certainly, recovered from that early game, banking a lot like a Zerg player should against mech, on his way to additional tech and upgrades.
What was it? Risky we were casting 209 drones recently. There's some game we cast just the other day that was like,
yeah, I was trying to think of that too. Was
insane.
It might have been Risky versus ours. Yeah, I think that was.
Yeah, Hades or whatever. Okay, so what we just witnessed there, by the way, is the problem with the Abduct here, where it's got such range to it. Even with the Vikings firing back at them, it's going to be almost free kills every time. This is a problem, though, for soO, because abducts I normally like a lot, right? But you're abducting Vikings. You're not abducting tanks or Thors, these really heavy-duty units. So perhaps Blinding Clouds with an actual attack would be a better combination. It's hard to say. But one thing's for certain, as much as I don't enjoy Scarlet's style of going, like, too many Vipers, I think about 6 seems to be the standard right now.
Yeah, I think 6 seems okay. 8's that kind of like, whoa there. And then there's, right, Scarlet and Risky goes like for 16, all at once. We had a little bit of Liberator harassment, but a little bit, I mean actually a lot. There just simply wasn't a Spore Crawler, and he didn't pay attention fast enough, so 16 drones dead. Might just hit that 100 worker killed mark. I think he definitely will, considering how long this game should be going. INnoVation's still transferring over into Mass Raven.
Well, I just witnessed there was the beauty of Blue Flame taking out those locusts before they even really have a shot. This is a problem, because he doesn't have that second wave to hit somewhere else. And INnoVation takes not one, but possibly soon to be 2 base. I mean, look how many orbitals he's making. He's not trolling. He's just, this is how you spend your money as a mech player.
Yeah. And he was
God,
like...
that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 just out in the open too. That's not even at the back of your main. There's like 6 orbitals just exposed.
There were the orbitals. There we go. Yeah. So I want to note too that there was a point in time where INnoVation, because he was spending so much on command centers and the transition to starports, he actually like wasn't maxed out for a long period of time. But soO wasn't really able to capitalize on that. Vipers come in, abduct. I think only one lost its life for that, so that's really not so bad. He's only lost 1 Viper. I feel like that's actually, the opposite of what we see in every other mech game, whether it's foreigners or the Koreans. It seems to be that by the time they get the Vipers, they get sniped out of the sky, and it's too late anyways, or not as good as it once was, basically. But this game is like a lot more to what, back, when Viper's just the answer to mech.
One thing I'm a little bit worried about here, not the Vipers for the moment, it's the fact that INnoVation's lacking money hard. He's spending it well, so don't get me wrong, but look at that bank on soO versus what INnoVation has, right? And the concern is all these units he's investing in, whether it's Vikings over and over again or what have you, they're going to be abducted again and again and again. And at some point, he is going to bleed out. And all these extra bases, whether they're orbitals or planetaries, the fact is, like, this is money he's not putting into his army that could really hurt him later on. Yeah,
I feel like these 3 are, like, maybe a little excessive. He already had so many orbitals, and these are even turning into more orbitals, which I was actually hoping that they would be later, transplanted to planetary.
Well, I think one of them should have been the planetary, but my thoughts here are if he starts getting rid of his SCVs, relies on all of these orbitals, because he's going to have, like, what, 9 of them? 10, actually, almost. If he uses those to mine with and doesn't have SCVs, his army is going to be unbeatably large, right? That's the logic here as the eventual mech player, but, still sitting on, like, close to 70 workers. It doesn't look like he's throwing them away just yet.
Yeah. I think he's prepping, though. I think that's the best call, best course of action. He did save one of those command centers for a planetary to the top right and the bottom left, turning into a planetary as well. He does have, he does like building armor and getting high-sec auto tracking too. Filling out the upgrades, and I think the SCV pool, it might come with the push, or it might be preemptive so we can add on supply, but I think it's gonna come.
Well, top right's gonna be a problem for him first. I love that he lifts up, but can he escape the Hydras? He does have building armor.
Yeah, I think he will.
Oh, Locusts all get wasted on the refinery. It feels bad, man.
Yeah.
Korean swarm hosts, am I right?
Yeah.
Actually, that was kind of an interesting decision there. Seeker missiles actually, I guess, would have the capability to knock them all out. They don't have any health, so splash damage would be a one-shot. We just don't ever see people use Seeker missiles versus swarm hosts.
Yeah. Income graph, by the way, is just spiking all over the place as they've taken and retaken bases, I guess.
Right.
It's soO. He's trying to get to Broodlords. There's still a sizable number of Vikings and all those Ravens.
Parasitic bombs. I'm starting to like this choice a bit more too, as he realizes how invested into the air this is. Because the more spread out you are from the parasitic bomb, the easier you are to abduct and bring to the army. But point defense drones can cover a lot of damage here. All things considered, he does get the Seeker missiles off, but I don't think he has the Seeker missile upgrade, so he only gets 1 off. Not enough to one-shot a Viper.
Which one is he missing?
And I was mistaken. He does actually have it.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he had the 30% range or not.
Yeah. Well, he is still advancing forward here. There's 4 Vipers, so there's about to be 2 Vipers. No, only 1 maybe.
Even less than that maybe, if they sit there for the splash radius. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Vikings even got a couple of kills there. So I thought the tanks would have been a little too clumped up against 4 Vipers and Blinding Clouds, but they never got to use much. And
well,
the Broodlord's being pulled back.
I love the auto turrets here. I was actually going to say, I'm surprised the tanks didn't get screwed more by the Broodlords. I thought friendly fire was going to be a much bigger problem for INnoVation. But as the Locusts come up once again, he'll send this flying over. There's not a lot of energy in these Ravens anymore. He's dancing so hard with the Vikings that he might not have been thinking about the Swarm Host this entire time. But they all land on the Thor and take it out. However, that also clumps them up for the splash damage, and the tanks deal with them with almost no issue.
Yeah.
Auto turrets come down almost out of desperation. They'll do what they can to take out the rest of the corruptors.
He did successfully beat the air army here, so the broodlords he managed to save are now properly protected. INnoVation has to hardcore respond to this, so he's going for Thors and a lot of Vikings.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Thors in the single target mode do match Broodlord's range for range. They're both, I believe, range 10. But while the Thors are great because he's upgraded 3/3, the Vikings are actually not hitting that hard because there's almost no upgrades to air, just level 1.
Yeah, that's a great. More Hellion harass. Did we actually reach? Oh no, we haven't reached 100. They kind of stalled out as INnoVation tried to push here, but even though
we're getting there though. 88.
Yeah,
crazy 88s.
It's still gonna get there, but INnoVation, you know, he had so much invested into more bases, and he still has 70 SCVs. But I guess like his gas is still a problem. Obviously, a very gas-heavy army, and only 2 gas geysers, you know, per base. That's his real problem here. He's just barely not able to get maxed out. I do love the last minute missile turret attempt. I don't know if it's gonna.
It's gonna get up and. Well, I don't know about for the Broodlords. He needs it to help with the Corruptors, though. That's for sure. Yeah,
the Vikings though seems to be that they were in this too scary of a number with the auto turrets as well. Now the auto turrets not here. Missile turrets are.
You know what? That's also helping a ton with the choke. The planetary fortress is just washing off the Broodlings. Unfortunately, it looks like some orbitals in the command center are gonna burn though. No. Oh, that sucks to lose.
Why would you lift it? It's just going far away.
He saves one, but not the other. Just feels bad, man. All right, so he's repairing up the Thors. It's worth noting, backing into that choke didn't hurt him so bad because he is actually keeping those units alive, as silly as that looked for that fight. The Desperation turrets, whatever for the cost, they worked.
Let's point out that soO doesn't know about 2 bases formation. I think he knows they're the bottom left, but I don't know about the bottom center left. Which might be a problem. I think it's like something he could have dealt with. But instead trying to attack in again, I'm gonna get more orbitals and more Vikings with a parasitic bomb on them. Spears. Can he actually stop this? INnoVation's maxed out, but a lot of his army, his Thors too, are attacking soO's base's economy. Base?
This is kind of... Well, so this is the better choice, right? Like, he's got both armies are too slow to respond to each other, really. I think the Vikings, the Ravens, they eventually hold at some point, but nothing will stop that ground army out of INnoVation to the south. The Broodlords that move way too slow. It'll take too long to kill what is so many planetaries, right?
That's a good point. The Swarm Host can't really help out. Even if they did have Locusts, you just try and run away from while you can. Hellion's trying to harass every drone line too, so a lot of drones going to go down. And he's just barely managing to save his Viking army. 6 being produced at a time will eventually overcome the 14 Corruptors and no Spellcaster support. I guess Queens count, but still, no, the point is no Fungals, no parasitic bombs. Queens, please. The Locust did come back and dealt with, what, like a third of that army before it got to run away? But 40 drones and 2 bases died, whereas INnoVation, well, he managed to save a lot more SCVs and still has a lot more orbitals despite losing 2 or 3.
We're, of course, over the 100 mark now. Woo, Papa! Yeah. Confetti cannon.
Well, that actually ended up being really nice. The Broodlords come back in a place that he didn't expect and didn't run away from immediately. Yeah,
and well, this was the point. He didn't expect this because the whole point was the Broodlords would be too slow, ideally, to catch this army. Unsieged tanks, considerably slow, but still faster than Broodlords. Yes. This is a problem, though, so INnoVation tries to trade out, right? If he had sent a couple more Hellions northwards and wiped out the rest of soO's drones there, I mean, this is pretty much the last of his mining. And the big problem for soO is he's lost that bank. You know, that bank was, what, 5k strong earlier? He doesn't have a lot of remaxing left in him. If INnoVation has been playing this calm and collected and knows that, then he's in such a good spot. But it doesn't focus on the Greater Spire. Tanks are just going to go down. Yeah, I was disappointed to see them focusing a Score Crawler. I think they could have gotten it. Oh, you cannot out-repair this, by the way. There's like no real point in trying. Well, the Vikings... Oh, no, I get it before there's even a problem. No, there's not enough Vikings either. Like, he needs to be distracted. What's up is you don't even need that many Corruptors to make that work. You just need like 4 to 6, and it's unrepairably good. But here we go, the last of the drones starting to go down, so soO really, like, at the end of his ropes here, because there's no real income behind this whatsoever. He does, I mean, he's close to doubling INnoVation's army supply. Well, not really, but, like, that's a pretty big army supply lead. He just needs to get the army somewhere. You know what? INnoVation, I love this choice. I was about to bring this up, but he's already doing it. Drilling Claws and Widow Mines. Whatever for the Broodlords, whatever for the Swarm Host, they'll deal with that Corruptor problem he just can't seem to beat. And this is what's heartbreaking, right? INnoVation's doing such good Viking micro. He's been dancing around this game. He's been using Thors, but he's not been able to beat that Corruptor count with the Vipers at any point this game. He keeps losing out to them. So, Widow Mines might just be the trick of what he's been missing. And
Yeah.
soO, who's not had to worry about dealing with these, has no Overseers. 0 Overseers.
Oh, that is a problem. It's, oh my god, INnoVation just sending down all the scans possible, realizing, like, confirming that soO really has no mining, and the income graph is just something hilarious to look at. The income just difference is hilarious to look at.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, it's not very good for soO, and I think that his army it's slow. It's supposed to complement each other, which it can still do. 30 supply up. But I do love the Drilling Claws. You know, if he's not expecting the Widow Mines, 8 of them burrow underneath this, that's just instantly gone by Corruptors.
Yeah.
And then the Broodlords will be taken out by whatever Vikings he can reinforce with.
By the way, mega love to all our subs. We'll get you guys caught up after this game. It's been kind of an intense game, hard to look away from. The Thor count, what's this up to now? Because he's built a lot of these over time. 7, almost at 9. I don't know if he'll want to be on single target mode to snipe off the Broodlords, or if he wants to be on splash damage to try and deal with the clumped up Corruptors. But one thing's for certain, both players have a very volatile and scary army. Vikings on the ground are hilarious, but he's got no real buffer. They're going to help.
Oh yeah.
I just want these Widow Mines to march underneath this with Drilling Claws and catch the Corruptors off guard. It's going to make for such a glorious 4th of July. That's what INnoVation's doing. He's doing the American strategy.
He's America right now. INnoVation saved the bottom left base. Not gonna save this one. And a lot of SCVs were here too, so he finally takes that true hit to the SCV count, and he has lost a lot of his orbitals, so only at
5.
I was like, where are they on the production on the thing? But yeah, 5. But yeah, of course, still not bad.
This is so cool. Look what he said. He still hasn't revealed the Widow Mines at any point this game. Like, whether intentional or otherwise, because he kept them in the back, there's still no Broodlords in play. There's no detection. So while I don't think this will be the sneaky Widow Mine thing, I'm hoping that just I think INnoVation very clearly is planning to march these underneath like some kind of mobile bomb, right? This isn't meant to be like, oh, I was burrowed in the middle of the map and you didn't see me.
Yo, check the production or the structures tab. I'm either like, you know, sleep deprived and crazy, or there's orbitals aren't showing up on it.
It's in the middle.
I see a regular command center in the middle.
Well,
Oh,
I
I
see
see it
5
now.
orbitals.
Oh, okay, thank you. I was just sleep deprived and crazy. I was just like originally counting the original bases that he's never had to lift, so I knew he had them,
Yeah.
but I was
Okay.
like, what the hell?
We're getting to that point. We're getting almost go time here, guys. Here comes the Widow Mines, but I don't like the positioning for this because the
yeah.
Broodlords are not the target for these Widow Mines. It's absolutely the Corruptors.
Yeah. And they've definitely been revealed at this point. So soO's gonna, I mean, I would hope to make Overseers. There we go.
Yeah,
he does
2 of them
not
right away.
have Overlord speed,
Uh-oh.
however.
Oh, he stuck the Widow Mines. He stuck the Widow Mines to the south of the army. He's gonna go right underneath the Broodlords. This normally isn't an option, but he targets them all, the Broodlords. Happy 4th of July.
You know, 4 live.
Was that enough,
but
though?
The Thors, come on, Thors, you gotta.
Oh, Blinding Clouds. Blinding Clouds are God mode in this situation. New Widow Mines also still off of cooldown coming in. Take out the last one Broodlord remains. Swarmhouse on cooldown. This is looking to be INnoVation's fight. If he can get here before the Locusts are off cooldown again. And it looks like that's going to be the case.
Oh, I want this to pop off. Oh.
Widow Mines, greatest tech swap of all time, question mark.
Oh, that's lame. Never hit the Corruptors.
See you later, Overseers.
I still mean that is still that is still a win for INnoVation.
I love it. I love it. GG. INnoVation went full on Texas.
Texas. Yeah, that was actually
He had the
fantastic.
barbecue. He had the barbecue in the evening,
I
right?
feel
Early
like-
game, and then he had the fireworks at night.
Yeah. I feel like soO wasn't even question marking so much at, like, you know, the Widow Mines, because I think that is a response often enough. It just like, it was like, well,
Actually,
you weren't supposed to use them on a Broodlords, man. Like, what the hell?
well, there's not like that, right? The opportunity presented himself, so I'm really like impressed that he was able to seize the moment so quickly. I do want to point out one small moment though of like I almost want to call it panic at INnoVation, because he did target fire all the Widow Mines on one Broodlord, an absolute waste to use them like that. But if he just borrowed them randomly, they'd go off randomly on like the odd Broodling, the Locust, whatever. So I think if he had like not been, I think, desperate, because INnoVation was through that last attack, through that through the fact that he focused fired all the Broodlords with what, like, I think there's a pretty desperate plea out of him there, and that was not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, I think that I was going to make up that point too. Like, you can't just burrow them because they're going to go off on a bunch of random, useless things. And that ended up being glorious, and INnoVation will advance to face Impact.
Impact
2-1
nice.
Leenock and Classic 2-1 Hero. So I'm not sure which one's going to come first. I think they ended around the same time, actually.
Well, actually, so for those who don't know, either way, because we won't be starting them soon, Crank is currently casting Zest versus Gumiho. You can go check that out on his Twitch channel.
Yeah.
We have to wait for that to finish up before we get to move on to the next series. So we'll probably just go to break here for a few minutes, guys. But either way, go check out Crank's channel, because until that game is done, and it's about 10 minutes into TVP, until that game is done, we can't start any other matches.
Right, exactly. So I'm going to go to a break, and ideally that's done soon. I'll probably check it out myself. As apparently they're good games. I thought Gumiho was going to stomp them. Apparently not.
Before you take us to break, though, let's get caught up on these sub shoutouts, because there's a lot of them we missed in that crazy long game.
Okay.
D Foxy for 11 months. Mex till 42 for 7. Thanks for coming back, both you guys. 2 Kitch was a Twitch Prime sub, brand new. Hey, first new sub of the night. Welcome to the Base Trade Brigade. Nox LEDM for 30 months says, wowzers. Wurzag hits us up with 3 to say, yo guys, still lurking. Hi, Wurzag. And then for 37 months, goes EG in the caster tournament.
Thanks. I'll try.
European Vafrudna.
All right, now we're going to go to a break. See you guys soon.